to get clients for fitness? And if things are going well on Twitter, do I have to be using Instagram where things maybe are not going so well? These are a couple of the questions that Daniela was asking me on the hot seat. Now, just to give you some context, every 2 weeks in my mentorship, what we do is I invite people onto a hot seat for 15 minutes where we dive deep into whatever problem they're having. And in this hot seat, Daniela is doing really, really well on Twitter, but she's not doing so well on some of the other platforms. And she's wondering which avenue she should pursue. Now, one of the things you'll learn is that Daniela's market is very, very specific. There's a great community. And what we got into is how she can just dive deeper and deeper and deeper into already what's working. How to use Twitter to generate a lot more leads, how to better leverage her time on Twitter, how to better figure out who to connect with and how to connect with them. There's a lot of really behind the scenes stuff that Twitter does that other social media platforms don't do. So this isn't me necessarily saying you have to or you should or you shouldn't use Twitter. But if you are using Twitter and you want to figure out how to use it better in order to generate clients, this is an episode worth listening to. Enjoy. Daniela, you're first. So real quick, kind of who you are, a little bit about you, who you serve, and then what you want to talk about today.
Yeah, so my name's Daniela. I'm a math teacher, an online fitness and nutrition coach, and a dancer. I predominantly work with women of color, particularly like immigrants. My main platform is Twitter, which is weird because everyone's on Instagram and I'm on Twitter. But I'm known there for being an undocumented immigrant rights activist. So yeah, most of my clients are immigrant women of color who are looking to lose weight and build healthy relationships with food. Yeah. So right now I'm everything's going really smoothly. So right now I'm trying to figure out what is the most high leverage action that I could do to continue to grow my business. For instance, is it right now I don't really have much authority on Instagram, but I'm not sure it's even worth pursuing at the moment since I'm doing so well on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I'm bilingual, and I know that there's people in the OTM program who have been really successful at working with people in different languages, and that's something I'm really interested in tapping into. And then I guess the third one is I'm a teacher. So right now, I don't know if y'all know, but being a teacher is really friggin' hard. And so I have I'm wondering, should I tap into the whole teacher thing? And I'm just what is the most high leverage thing that I could do right now?
I worked with somebody who worked specifically with teachers. No, I didn't. I coached them a little bit. And then they went and they started their own business coaching program. That's actually what happened. But no, I mean, teachers might work, but it's a tough market for no other reason than teachers are generally very, very busy and don't make a lot of money. And so they're a great market to serve. They're not a particularly great market to build a business around. And so if it's a market that you want to get back to, I think that's a great thing to do. I think we need to support our teachers. I do not think that it's your biggest opportunity to build a business for them. But you can certainly build a business and then use that business to support them in other ways, if that's something that you want to do. Talk to me about what you're doing on Twitter. I mean, I know a little bit about it because I know a little bit about you, and I you wrote about it in your intake as well. But for everybody else here that might be a little bit unfamiliar, and I think this is going to be the conversation, and I'll tell you why. Twitter is actually a phenomenal way to begin social media growth. It's like the one platform that if you do really well on, everything else you can jump onto afterwards. Whereas it's very hard to go from Instagram to Twitter, but it's very easy to go from Twitter to Instagram, for example. And so talk to me about a little bit about what you're doing to Twitter, with Twitter, and we can go from there.
Yeah. So for years I was just kind of casually posting fitness stuff just for my friends. And so I've developed so I'm okay with sharing this. Get mad if you want. I'm undocumented. I do not have residency. It's out there. I don't really care. It's fine. So I'm known as the authority figure in the undocumented and immigrant community as the go-to fitness person. So for years, I've just casually posted
I
like
mean, that's a
fitness
niche
stuff.
that I hadn't thought about. And that's like actually a really good, interesting niche. Talk about a group of people who need support.
Yeah, and it's people all across the country on Twitter that are like connecting because they're undocumented, because
Mm,
it's hard to find connections outside of Twitter with other undocumented people. So we all know each other like all across the country. We all know
wow.
each other.
Okay.
Um so so I've just been casually posting, and when I did my launch, I was focusing on Instagram, and I would just kind of like post everything on Twitter just cuz, but it was not geared toward Twitter. But 98% of my clients were coming from Twitter. There were
Hmm.
people I didn't know or people that I was just interacting with casually on Twitter, like just random immigrants, undocumented people, women of color professionals looking to lose weight. Yeah.
Right.
So it wasn't my intention. It just ended up being that I literally got 0 clients from Instagram and 2 from Facebook and everyone else from Twitter.
And everybody
And they're
else from
people that
Twitter.
don't know.
Yeah. And your Twitter, I mean, it's deceiving, right? Because you look at your Twitter and it doesn't have like a ton of followers for a Twitter account, but it just shows you the value of just being that targeted and being a part of community. Like, how many followers do you have on Twitter now? I checked a few weeks ago, but
It's like 1,400. It's like small for Twitter.
right. But the thing with Twitter is that it's small, but it's very, very tight. Talk to me about how you actually use it, particularly. Um, oh, where was it? If I see somebody big ask a question about health and fitness, like how you interact, because the reason that I want to get into this is because I think I think there's two main pieces here that you're doing very, very well. And I want to first identify them and then like go deeper with them. The, a lot of what people talk about on social media is how to talk on social media, whereas you're doing a very, very good job about, you're doing a very, very good job listening and responding. So what are you doing there?
So either if I like, there's a lot of people saying stupid stuff on Twitter because it's Twitter.
Right.
So I go in there and I'm like, no, 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 no. This is what's up. So if I see someone asking a question, like a big account, I'll respond to it and I'll retweet it. If I see someone just making like a really bad statement, I'll like post a little video with it or just like post a tweet with it. And I usually get some engagement. And
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes I get people who they see something and they tag me in it, so I'll respond to it. I'll DM the person and being like, hey, like I don't know if you saw, like I gave you like a response, and then that person will often, like the big account will retweet what I said because I'm a reputable source. um and then I'll retweet the response, and I'll take notes of like, well, what are these questions that people are commonly asking on Twitter, so that I can get ideas for content.
Okay. So you're listening really, really well. Do you have any sort of a system? So, okay, let me take a step back. What do you think you should do? I mean, you said three things at the beginning of stuff that you're doing. What do you think your focus and energy is best?
Well, I think if it ain't broke, I shouldn't fix it, and maybe I should just go all in more on Twitter instead of like investing so much energy on, say, Instagram or like Spanish speakers. I really would love to work with Spanish speakers because that's like unlocks a whole other world. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm already doing really well with people that I have already. Um, it's just right now. So Twitter is a little bit different from other platforms, as I'm sure you know, where people do not engage with it as much, but they're reading it and they're taking action off of it.
Yeah.
Like I'll have a post where nobody will comment, nobody will retweet it, nobody will like it, but I'm still getting people messaging me asking to be my client.
Yep.
So it's a little bit hard to determine like what needs people have and what content is actually effective. It's not like Instagram where you can see the analytics, like, oh, people are commenting on this or they're engaging with this. People
Yeah, but
don't
it's
engage
the
with stuff
same
on
thing,
Twitter.
though. I mean, it's. I agree with you. It's different in terms of how people use it, 100%. But it is the same thing. The content that I put out on Instagram that has generated the most business and has helped the most people is in no way close to the most successful quote unquote content that I put out on Instagram. That's kind of the mind warping aspect of it. I agree with you. I think Twitter is your bread and butter. And I think it's all you should focus on, quite frankly. I think you can like screenshot what you do on Twitter and put it on Instagram, but I don't think you should give any shits about Instagram. I think, I mean, it could just be the same content that you're copy and pasting there, just so you're kind of like bubbling underneath the surface, right, on Instagram. And then you might have something that pops off, you might not. But I mean, I do this. Like Instagram's what I care about. I mean, I don't post, but I have my stuff posted on I think 7 different platforms. Um, I quite literally never log in to the other platforms. And it's, I mean, it's there. It grows much slower as a result. Doesn't have the same type of energy. Certainly doesn't have a community. It's not the best way to use these platforms. But I do think that it's important to choose whichever one you're best at. And I actually think that Twitter is the best platform if you're going to choose one, because of how well it lends itself to everything else in the future, if you want to. Twitter, you can fire up a whole bunch more content than anywhere else, which means you have a lot more bullets in the gun, which means you have a lot more opportunities to test material, to test appeals, to test different types of messages and ways you're saying it. In addition, though, it forces succinctness of writing and thought. I know that Twitter now allows you to go longer than the character limit. I still wouldn't. Like, it forces you to be very, very succinct in how you communicate. And that, in turn, will make you a way better communicator. At the same time, I mean, my Instagram is screenshots of Twitter, and it works really, really well. And there are other, Twitter celebrities that are crushing Instagram. And here's what they're doing. I mean, aside from the whole like background like circle joke where they're all like paying each other to support each other, which we won't get into, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes there. But for the most part, what they're doing is they've just been posting on Twitter for a very, very long time. Whichever tweets hit the hardest, they take those, they put them on Instagram, then they take those and they do a spoken head video basically talking the tweet. Then the best ones of those, they go and produce into longer YouTube videos, and so on and so forth. It all starts with Twitter. It's very hard to start with YouTube and go to Twitter. It's very hard to start with Instagram and go to Twitter. But a lot of what you're doing I actually like more, where you're actively listening and showing up when you need to. And the fact that people are tagging you in places is really, really cool. Are you using any of these tools like Tweet Hunter or any of those to help with your Twitter?
I have no idea what that is. No.
Okay, so there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do. I got behind the scenes in Twitter a fair bit, and I know most of the guys who are really big there, so I know what they're using and how they're doing it. So I'll talk you through it really, really quick. Number one, the key people that you follow, you can turn notifications on them. So you turn notifications so you actually get a notification the second that they tweet. And then the second that this big account that has a lot of followers that are your type of followers tweet, what you do is you get like a notification on your phone. You go in there and you respond as quickly as possible with a really good response. It's a really good way to grow on Twitter. So number one, turn notifications on. That's directly on Twitter. Number two, in terms of creating content, if there are, I would say, 2 to 4 people who create content that you really love on Twitter, that just feels right to you, hits hard, and they're big accounts, they're popular accounts, use Twitter Advanced Search and search for their tweets from best performing down and just pick random months. So whenever you're sitting down to like write tweets, you basically go, it's like, oh, like what did like this person tweet February 2022? And you can use Twitter Advanced Search to search that. And then what it's going to do is it's going to give you their best stuff. And then you could basically go there and just take their best stuff, all of their formats, the skeletons of their posts, right? All of their hooks, all of the appeals. And you can just basically flip in your words for that and tweet them. It's already proven content. This is why like basically all of the threads on Twitter look the same, is because people are doing this. Tweet Hunter is what I used, although there's a few other examples of it. But what Tweet Hunter allows you to do is a number of things. Number one, it has an AI engine for writing tweets, which I found to be okay, not great. But I'm sure that will improve. But more than anything else, it allows you to build like much better interest lists of people on Twitter than what Twitter allows you to do. And you can respond directly in Tweet Hunter. So it'll just pull you all the people that you wanted to do. So it's just a way easier way to remove the Twitter super annoying feed and just bring in the stuff that you want and just reply to them one off, boom, 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 in one go. So you can reply to more tweets. And then what it also allows you to do is it allows you to schedule out tweets, which is very, very useful. It also allows you to identify tweets as evergreen content. And you have holes in your weekly schedule where it'll pull evergreen content. So something that's performed well, you can then identify and tag as an evergreen tweet, and it'll pull that tweet in again from time to time. So just take a little bit of burden off you. And then the final thing that it allows you to do, and we can go over this after because we gotta get into the next person here. But the last thing that this tool allows you to do that's kind of neat that I found pretty useful is it allows you to do a giveaway with an auto DM. Well, two things really. It allows you to do a giveaway with an auto DM where you can say, hey, I just wrote an 8-point checklist of what undocumented immigrants need to know about fitting fitness in while eating the food that they love. If you want it, DM me, I don't know, Espanol. Like DM me anything, right? Like DM me a word. And then what Tweet Hunter will do is Tweet Hunter will then auto reply with a message that you do. And so so you'll say, must be following me, whatever it is, must be following me, must retweet this tweet, right? So then people retweet it, then people are following you, and then they send you a DM, and your system automatically fires back a DM and says, hey, here's where you go get it, and it's an opt-in for an email or something like that. So it automates that, and Twitter is the only platform that allows you to do this. No other platform can you basically create auto respond bots like that. And then the final thing is Tweet Hunter will allow you to basically set a minimum of likes or engagement on a post. And when you hit that, it'll add another tweet in response to the original tweet. So you could post a tweet and you could say, if this gets 100 hearts, then respond with a call to action to join my coaching. And it'll automatically do that once the thing hits 100 hearts. So Twitter's powerful. You can do stuff on there that you can't otherwise. I think you've got a lot of gold here that you're sitting on. I'm excited for you.
Thanks. This is really helpful. It's kind of disappointing to see that my Instagram was not taking off, and it was kind of hard being I have no really actionable steps when it comes to Twitter. So this is really helpful.
Hey, John here once more. Real quick before you go, I wanted to recommend another episode for you to listen to. This is episode number 18. In it, we get really, really deep into how to build a high-profit, high-impact coaching program. Basically, we answer the question, why do some coaches sell programs for thousands of dollars while others can't sell them for 20? I go through it step by step by step by step in this episode. We get into the marketing, the sales, absolutely the positioning, but also the client service and what the differences are between these types of products. And so that's episode 18 that I recommend you listen to next. It's called Building a High Profit, High Impact Coaching Program. Now, real quick before you go, if you are interested in my mentorship, please just go over to Instagram. I'm at It's Coach Goodman. Send me a DM that just says mentor, and myself or my team will get back to you and we'll have a chat. Thanks so much. Enjoy episode 18.